Hey everybody, Mr. Wagner here. We're going to work on Breakout 4 today. Code I have in front of you is Breakout 3. If you remember from last time, Breakout 3 basically had the paddle moving to the left and right, and that worked great, except what we need now is some collision detection. Now, I did have a request from some of my students to tell you where I could find some of the information about Pygame. Specifically, in here where our event type, we have the event key is K right and K left, and event type and Pygame, you know, like where do we get all that information, okay? And where we get that is on the Pygame website. Let me show you what that looks like. And right here, I have the pygame.org key, okay? And it tells me all about the keyboard events for the key. And if I scroll down, you can see all the constants here. So if I wanted to program K escape or K3, like the number 3, or the colon or the semicolon, or any of the keys like S and R and Q and OP and whatever, all those exist. All you got to do is you got to look for them and program away. Similarly, if you notice up here, it says the most useful stuff. Like that's where I clicked on key. So here's key. But a lot of times I need to look at pygame.draw. So if I click on draw, it shows me where the code is for like drawing a rectangle or a polygon or a circle or ellipse or whatever. And if I scroll down here, draw a rectangle, okay? And that's what we're going to be doing a lot, you know, in Breakout, because all those little bricks are rectangles, okay? So that's where that exists, and I'll put a link on the notes here for this, and you can take a look. Remember in Pong, we did collision detection by checking to see if the left and the right and, you know, if all the points sort of matched up, and that's how we could tell if something hit another thing. Well, you could see where that would become very difficult if you were writing a very large game, and that's actually the case. Instead of doing collision detection the way that we did in Pong, this time we're going to use a Pygame function called collideRect to see if two rectangles bump into each other. And if they do, then we're going to do something, okay? So the way you do the pyrect is this, okay? That's not too hard. Okay, what we got to do is all of our drawing commands, see this Pygame draw circle and Pygame draw rectangle, those are function calls, and when we call those, that function actually returns a value to us, okay? So what we're going to do is we are going to save that value that gets returned to us, and we're going to use that. So in pygame.draw.circle, we are going to say ball rect, which is just a variable, is going to be equal to pygame.draw.circle, blah, blah, blah. And very similarly, I'm going to say paddle rect is equal to pygame.draw.rect, blah, 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 okay? So that's really kind of pretty straightforward there. So now let me show you how we actually check to see if the ball hits the paddle, now that we have ball rect and paddle rect defined. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the lines right above line 57, 56. We're going to go right here to line 57, and we're going to say if Pygame.rect with a capital R dot collide rect, and we are going to pass two rectangles to it. The first one is ball rect, and the second one is paddle rect. Okay, so now we have two rectangles. They're both being passed to this collide rect, and collide rect will either return a true if those two rectangles bumped into each other, or a false, in which case they didn't. Now, if it is a true, then all we really have to do is set dy, which is the ball's y direction, times equal -1. Okay, so now the ball's going to bounce back up. Oh, I did x equals, I meant that one, times equals -1. Okay, so when I run this, pretty sure I'm going to get an error. And sure enough, I did. If you notice way down here at the bottom, it says name error, name ball rect is not defined. And I knew I was going to get this error, and I want to explain to you what was going on there. Okay, now I need to force quit Breakout because that's what I need to do to get rid of that program. And let's try it again. Okay, there, it went away. Okay, so when a computer program starts, it always starts at the very top and it works its way down. Okay, so as it works all the way down, you get to the game loop, and then on line 57 is looking for ball rect and paddle rect, but they don't exist because they get defined here at line 73, 74. So it's asking for it at 57, 58, but they don't exist till 73, 74. So the question is what can we do about that? And there's actually a really easy answer. And the easy answer is we'll just draw the ball and the paddle before the game loop even begins. And then therefore those two things will exist, and we can just jump right past that line 57. So I'm going to copy line 73, 74, Command C, and I'm just going to put those right here before the game loop. Okay, now they're tabbed over, so we're going to need to move those back so it's all nice and pretty. Clean that up a little bit. All right, so now as we start at the top, works down, and we now have a ball rect, we now have a paddle rect. So when we get down to line 59, we have a ball rect, we have a paddle rect. We can go ahead and do the dy minus 1 times -1 if we need to, and then we continue on. So let's see what we got. Run. And we will move this around. Up. Did you see that? Nice bounce. Okay. All right. So that's actually kind of neat. And when we get all those bricks that are up at the top going, we can use that collide rect, and we can very easily figure out whether or not they bounce. The other thing that I want to tell you about collide rect is that that's all compiled code, and that's been written really nice and tight and fast, and it's not interpreted like like the Python stuff is. So that's actually a much more efficient way to run that collision detection. All right, let me just check my notes real quick, make sure that we are in good shape. And I do believe we are. So I'm going to call it for Breakout 4, and I will see you at Breakout 5. Bye.